Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. 2 minutes for their opening introduction, and we're going to start with Miss Janet Holt. Janice. It says Janet on there.
Oh, sorry. Hi, my name is Janice Holt, and I am running for state representative for House District 18. I live in Silsbee, which is in Hardin County, and you may be thinking, why is Hardin County way over here in Montgomery County? But with redistricting, after the census, the House District 18, beginning in 2023, will be made up of San Jacinto County, Liberty County, Hardin County, and East Montgomery County. So I look forward to running for this race because I believe that my values of faith, family, and freedom are the values of East Texas. And a little bit about my background: I'm a teacher by profession. I taught for 10 years back in the 90s and the early 2000s, and I quit teaching in order to work with my husband. We have our own business. We do indoor air quality. We kill COVID, and so we've been very, very busy over the last 2 years. But I also, being able to work with our business, that also afforded me the opportunity to be able to run for school board. And I have served on the Silsbee ISD School Board since 2014, and I'm currently the board president. I'm very active in the Republican Women of Hardin County, of Texas, and the National Federation of Republican Women. And I was appointed in 2019 by Governor Abbott to serve on the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. And I serve as vice chair of that commission. So that's just a little bit about me, and I look forward to getting to know you better. Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say thanks for all of you guys caring enough to be here, caring enough to care about what the candidates stand for, do your homework, but most importantly, care enough to vote. My name is Ernest Bales. I was born and raised in Shepherd, Texas, just right down the road. Family Jerry in a beef cattle operation. I learned how to work. We milked at 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, milked about 265 and ran about 600 head of beef cattle. We also ran commercial trucks and heavy equipment. I've had a Class A CDL since I was 17, still keep a current health card. Welded, was equipment operator for a little while out of college. I've done a little bit of everything. My life has not been about politics. I was just a working class guy who was afforded the opportunity to serve the people of Southeast Texas. So I've been a state representative for the last 6 years. I've had Liberty, San Jacinto, and Walker County. In that capacity, we've been able to get a lot of work done, establish a relationship so that we can be effective on day one representing Montgomery County. I'm not from here. My family goes back here many generations. My great-grandfather actually helped with this very park, and his name is on the 2-story library just right across the street, Mr. R.B. Tullis. So, very fortunate to come from good people. I do what I say I'm going to do, and I'm very present. I've had the opportunity, I've already been placed on the regional planning committee over here in East Montgomery County. Had the opportunity just to speak to leadership East Montgomery County just earlier. We started working on day 0 as soon as I found out we had you guys. So the commitment I make to you guys, I will always be here. I will represent what you guys stand for. And you guys are very fortunate that you are now part of a more rural area which has similar values. You're no longer part of Conroe proper. So I think that's a very good thing for everybody in this room tonight.
Okay. Again, I did not come up with these questions, and then I probably did. All right, so the first question for both candidates, Ms. Janice Holt, you can answer the question first. How do you plan on holding Republican values when the left does not play fair?
Well, that's an interesting question. I have been working for the Republican values actively for about the last 18 years through my Republican women activities and work with the Republican Party and the Republican Party of Texas. I've served on the State Republican Executive Committee representing Senate District 3. And while I was in that capacity, I served on the Legislative Priorities Committee. And the Legislative Priorities Committee, our task was to make sure that the priorities that our Republican Party of Texas, the ones that we set up, were being worked on, passed in the legislature, whether it was in the Senate or the House. And the Democrats don't play fair a lot of times. And so we have been known as the nice party. And so we have to be bold. We can still be nice, but we have to be bold. We have to stand firm for what we believe. I've been a Republican all my life. My first president to be able to vote for was Ronald Reagan back in 1980. And so I have been working very hard for Republican values all my life. And so I know how to stand up. I know how to stand firm. I have served in so many positions throughout the Republican women and the Republican Party that have prepared me for this. And I know that I will be able to work hard to make sure that those Republican priorities are carried out and that we do stand firm. You know, you can work with the other party, but you cannot ever compromise your values, and you have to stand firm. And so that's the kind of representative that I will be. Thank you.
I've had the opportunity to serve in the legislature the last 6 years as a Republican. A conservative Republican, my track record speaks for itself. Here's the thing we have to understand. Our rural areas, which this district is not a one-size-fits-all. We support public education. We support fiscal responsibility. We support life. We support securing the border and all of those things. But we have to do a very good job of never losing sight of what our job is. That's representing each and every one of you guys back at home. It's not representing the majority, which is just right south in Houston, Texas. So I've got Republican colleagues that I serve with just down south in Houston, Texas. They have very different challenges. We abide by the same platform, we abide by the same party, but it's my job to go a step beyond that and make sure that we do what is best for East Montgomery County and the rest of House District 18, and that's what I've been able to do.
You want to just stand up because the next one's for you? Or you can sit down and answer it, whatever you want to do. What are the 3 top priorities in our state, in your opinion, and what can you do as a representative about those 3 top priorities?
I would say public education is our biggest one because these kids are our future. We've got to make sure that we adequately fund and do a good job teaching our kids, but we're very mindful of the expense that we put on ad valorem property taxes and every landowner and homeowner right here. So we did a couple different things that I've already been working on. We had hypersonic growth. This district over the next 10 years will have up for 3 to be selected as the fastest growing school in the state of Texas. Splendora, New Caney, and Cleveland. And at whose expense? So we have a constitutional obligation to provide a quality education. We're trying to split the difference and also help when we pay our taxes. Securing our border has a huge impact on that as well. That affects our rural health care system. Our emergency rooms and our hospitals are still for-profit, as they should be. However, you look at going to your family practitioner, your doctor, versus someone who is not here legally going to the emergency room. What do you think is more expensive and what has a huge contribution on breaking our system? That's also no different educating our kids. So probably the 3 biggest priorities that we have worked on and will continue to work on: providing quality education for our kids, trying to get away from the overburden of ad valorem property taxes, and securing our border to do what is best for right here.
The top 3 priorities that I believe that we need to address, number 1 is our border. We must secure that border. We cannot allow the invasion of our southern border as we have over the last year under the Biden administration. What they are doing down there is reprehensible, and we must stop it. I am all for legal immigration. If they come in the right way, fill out the correct paperwork, and come in the right way. My daughter-in-law, my son's wife, is from Mexico. She has, gone through the process and done everything correctly, and that's the way we need to enter our country. Number 2 is election integrity. We all know that this past presidential election, was fraught with fraud, and we must be able to check into that and be able to audit those election returns. The legislature did do some leading down into election integrity, but I believe that we need to revisit that and make the penalties a little bit stronger. It was a little more than a slap on the wrist. So we must have some felony charges be able to be filed if someone breaks those election integrity rules, those election rules. And number 3 is life, protecting life. I have been endorsed by Texas Right to Life, who was very active in the heartbeat bill and making sure that we protect those who cannot protect themselves. As a Christian, I am life begins at conception and ends at natural death. And we must always protect those who are not able to protect themselves. So those 3 things, the border, election integrity, and protecting life, are the 3 major goals that I will have when I'm in the House. Thank you.
Okay. So the next question is for you, Ms. Holt, and this is the last question. I didn't come up with these questions, so I didn't write them. What do you think should stay and what do you think should go in regards to the Board of Education? Sure question.
Well, the State Board of Education is made up of representatives from all around the state, and then through TEA with Mike Morath. They set the education priorities. And so, what should stay and what should go? We must be able to have input into our school system. It is very important that our public schools remain fully funded and remain accountable. And so how that actually happens will need to be adjusted, I believe. Because of the property tax issue, we must be able to free up homeowners, free up those business owners from those property taxes. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we are funding our schools completely. And so that is something that will need to be worked on. But the TEKs that come down from TEA and all of the education mandates that come through have been, some of them are good, but some of them come to the individual districts and the individual schools, and there's no funding behind those. So we need to make sure that we have funding. If the State Board of Education and TEA is going to mandate something, we must be able to have the dollars behind it in order to fully fund it. So thank you for that question, because education is such an important thing in the state of Texas, and as more and more people come into Montgomery County and the rest in Liberty County and House District 18, we have to make sure that those things are funded and those schools are funded. Thank you.
There's a lot of different ways we can go with this question. We have the Ed to F rating and whether that's best for our schools. We have the STAR test, whether kids should be able to fail and not pass graduation based on a test. A lot of kids just don't test well. But I think from a bigger aspect, we go back to TEA and the way we have that structured from the top down with the commissioner. So I have a ton of interactions directly with Commissioner Morath in my capacity over the last 6 years and about our school districts right here. We put a huge emphasis onto charter schools and against public education. The one thing that no one's wanting to tell you, we talk a lot about ad valorem property taxes and how we fund public education in the state of Texas. It's predominantly based on the contribution of our local taxpayers. But when you have a charter school right next door, they typically going to receive more per student because they're going to get the maximum adjusted. They're going to get the statewide average plus maximum adjustment. And that's 100% from state contribution with practically zero accountability. So if we see it's necessary to use state funds to fund in that capacity, and we can wholly pay for our child's public education through the state without the burden upon taxpayers, that's where we need to put our emphasis at. We have to take a look at what is best truly for the kids and not politicize education. And I think that's a combination of issues within the State Board of Education as well as the top-down approach of a governor appointee with minimal experience serving as the overall dictator on behalf of every school district in the state of Texas. That's not what's best. We need someone who is very savvy, understands. I think there ought to be some minimum parameters. You need to have served time in the classroom, know how administration works, and have a good idea of the big picture. Rural, urban, all parts of Texas. So again, my name is Ernest Bales. You know what? It's truly been an honor to serve in this capacity. My life has never been about politics, and it never will be. I take pride in being a working class guy. I've got my wife Courtney here, who's a school teacher. I've got 2 great boys at home. This is my home. Anything that I do is to make sure that they have a bright future and that every kid has that opportunity. I'm not worried about my kids. They've got a lot of love at home. We've got a lot of other kids that don't have that. So it's our job to make sure that they have a voice, that they are represented, but at the same time we be mindful of infrastructure needs right here in East Montgomery County. We look at transportation, we look at flooding, we look at the growth. The growth is coming. So it's our job to work directly with all of our county and state officials to make that as positive as possible. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I want to apologize right now. I will be leaving shortly. I have another candidate forum in Liberty County. I will have staff here. I will have signs. Anything you need, reach out to me, and I can guarantee you I will be present. I will listen, and I will do all I can to help. Appreciate your support. God bless.
I too want to thank everyone for coming out. This is a wonderful turnout. Kudos to the East Montgomery County Republican Women for putting on such a wonderful event. Again, my name is Janice Holt, and I am from Silsbee over in Hardin County, and I look forward to serving as a state representative because I believe that my values of faith, family, and freedom are best represented by the people here of East Texas in House District 18. It's a team. The state representative must be able to work with the county officials, the city officials, the school officials, and all those players in the district. And we must be able to come together and help each other for the benefit of the residents of House District 18. And I look forward to taking on that responsibility. I'm ready to go to work on day 1 in 2023, and I look forward to earning your support. Thank you again. HoltForTexas.com. Thank you. I have to